Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha Mikeitz. The question of the week is, how do we keep the world alive? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha Mikeitz, we're going to learn a piece from the Zohar based on the verse Vayihi Mikeitz Shnasayim Yomim. So the Zohar says as follows: Rabbi Yitzchok, he opened up and he quoted a verse from the prophets that said, Melech b'mishpat yamid aretz, which means a king through justice keeps the world alive. So the Zohar says, Man Melech, who is the king? So first the Zohar says it's referring to Hashem. Then the Zohar says that Melech is referring to Hashem himself without asking the question. Then Rabbi Yossi comes along and says it's referring to Yosef HaTzadik. And then the last person says it's referring to King David. Such the Zohar says. Comes along the Rebbe's father and he explains what's the four different opinions. He says the first opinion is referring to the sphere of Bina. And according to the second opinion, it's referring to what? The sphere of Tiferes. And according to the third opinion, that Yosef is referring to the sphere of Yesod. And the fourth opinion, it's a sphere of Malchus. That's what the Rebbe's father explains. The four different opinions that what it takes to keep the world alive is Bina, Tiferes, Yesod, and Malchus. The Rebbe says, what does this mean practically? The Rebbe says like this. We know Mishpat, the verse that's quoted from the prophets from Mishlei, Mishpat's referring to Torah. Melech, so we know Man Malki Rabbanan. If you learn Torah, you become a king. And as we know, that Hashem looked in the Torah to create the world. So we have the power by learning Torah to keep the world alive. Now, just like the Rebbe's father explained, that it's referring to, the king is referring to what? The sphere of Bina, Tiferes, Yesod, and Malchus, which means you have to use all the spheres. Hashem used all those spheres to create the world. The same thing also. When we learn Torah, it's not just about learning Torah. You have to put your mind into it, your Bina into it. You have to put your emotions, Tiferes. You have to put your Yesod into it. And also Malchus, where you bring it down to earth. So in other words, how do we keep the world alive? By learning Torah, meditating on Torah, being emotionally involved in Torah, delivering the Torah to the world, and making sure the world becomes a Torah world. That's how we will keep the world alive. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch ben Aryeh, Shalom ben Yosef, Rachel Aslipa, Tzina Basara. May their souls be elevated by Torah we're studying in their memory. For more information, please see our website, Chabad, swf.org. Have a great and blessed week. Shavua Tov.